welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Duel with from Riley Stearns, director who made Art of Self-Defense and Faults. I've seen Art of Self-Defense, really enjoyed. Haven't seen Faults yet. So he's a new upcoming director. It stars Karen Gillan and Aaron Paul, and it's just been released. It went to Sundance, and then it's just started coming out and streaming in various places. It's just been released over here in the UK on Sky. It's a slow release. It's one of those films that get clobbered by the COVID thing, in a sense that there's such a flummox of a new film coming out that it's hard to get any attention because some places are open, some aren't, and so that it's had to rely on streaming more than anything else. I think it got a basic release because of just the COVID thing still slowly getting up and running again. So it's mainly had to make its life on the streaming services, which is a shame because this is a very good film. It also came out not just around about everyone all at once, which just came out and got everyone's attention, and this other little sci-fi movie with female protagonists just get ignored completely compared to that one. It's a real shame because this is a much better film. Really, this is a much more nuanced, interesting film than that one, which I just probably know from my look at it during the stuff I'd seen recently. I thought it was pretty shallow. This one's actually takes a sci-fi conceit and actually does a lot with it. Because if you've watched my channel, you know I got a bugbear of someone taking an idea and then being very base with it and not really exploring the possibilities of the idea. This one actually takes it in an interesting way. So the idea is human cloning now exists, but because we're very human beings go slow and things, the only way you really get a clone is if you're dying. And that basically, if you're dying from a terminal disease and you've got the money, you can order a clone that will replace you in society once you're dead. The problem with this is that every so often people have miraculous recoveries. And society thinks you cannot have more than one version of a person in society. That's just the thing they've got. You'd say, oh, that's illogical, but human nature is very illogical. If you look at some of the stuff we still argue about, like abortions and religion, stuff that should be solved a long time ago, which isn't. You know how messy cloning will be if we actually get up and running. You know just how complicated it's going to be. So this is the early days of cloning. So humanity saying that you can't have two versions of the same person, even though the solution is completely inhumane. The idea is you have to fit a duel with your own clone, and whoever survives is now that person, that version of the person. So the clone can dispute the fact that it has a right to its own life because it has developed its own personality over that time waiting for that person to die. And they can say, look, this other person had a life and I should keep my life now because I'm going to die otherwise. So the only way they can deal with it is actually have a duel. Which I think is a case of so that no one wants clones unless they really need it. This idea of a deterrent. And this film looks at, well, how messed up this whole situation is. And that's what's wonderful about it. It's like, it takes a situation that has not been well planned out and shows how human beings can utterly screw it up. You know, how they can utterly destroy everything just by not thinking anything through. And all the characters in this film ultimately are flawed by the fact that they don't plan things through very well. So Karen Gillan plays the lead character. She's a woman who's depressed. She's in problems dealing with her mother. She's in problems with her partner who she thinks doesn't respect her much. She's just having a hard time with it. Then she starts coughing up blood and she's told she has cancer. And it's terminal, there's no way to get around it. So she decides, I'm going to get a clone for the people I've left behind so they don't have to deal with losing me. even though she doesn't tell them she's dying, she just gets the clone and then eventually just throws it on, like, this is the clone, I'm dying. Like, keeps it off as far as possible for letting everyone know. You're thinking, well, that's not very nice. But as you go on in the film, you realise why she's doing it a lot more. You get a sense of that these relationships are very broken, and she's doing the best she can in a situation that's not very good for her. It's like the idea is, oh, all this high tech stuff now, but human nature is still horrible, and human nature still means that people behave badly, and people, your loved ones may not listen to you, and they may just leave you frustrated most of the time. And it's a lot of the metaphors of the film is like, what would you do if you had a second chance at life? Well, here literally you get a second chance at life. This other person's going to replay your life and try and do it better. And it's like, what parts of your life and your personality means that cannot happen? So you've got that element of the film. Plus you've also the fight for the duel to fight for life. Because when she gets better, she is blindsided with the fact she has to fight this person for her life. She has to pay them for to actually be able to live for the year before they actually have the duel. So she's like destitute, basically trying to pay for this other clone of herself, plus having to hire someone to train her to actually fight. Now, I won't go into details about some of the plot stuff because it's a new film. I don't want to go into like tons of details about the plot. I'm trying to just talk about what's going on in the film without giving you plot details. But there's a lot of the characters are very much more detailed than you think. Aaron Paul plays a trainer. He does not come into the film for a while, so don't expect to see him in the first 10 minutes. He comes in halfway through, so you have to accept that into this film. It's Karen Gillan's film, basically, and all the other characters come in and out of the film around her, and she's playing against herself sometimes. And you've got a clone who's like her but not like her, and it's like, and the interesting thing becomes like how different is a clone from her, how essentially the same are they, and how much blind spots you have to yourself, and how does a clone react in a way that was different from you, but may be an expression of you in a different circumstance that may have been shut down by your experiences. And with all that element floating through the film as well, it's like the clone's different, but is it different really? Is it, or is it just a different life circumstance from you? So certain other things that have been maybe locked down in you isn't locked down in them. So that element, so it's called dual, but it's not just about the dual, it's about the dual personality. It's two different personalities of the same person with slightly different experiences, and how does that express itself? So that's an element of the film. And the whole film ultimately is, the sci-fi idea is there, but it's really the character. We don't have a dystopian future. This is just a messed up future where people haven't thought their way through a situation. They haven't looked at the downsides of their laws, or if they have, they don't care. It's like, just deal with it, I don't care. The way politicians do to people all the time, it's like, I'm not going to look into this idea too much, I'm just going to vote it through, and you all have to deal with it until you vote me out. There's that element to it. So it's that kind of film. It's like there's sci-fi stuff, but it's always based on reality and based on the idea that people are very flawed. The same way in Art of Self-Defense, it's about a character who's very flawed, dealing with other very flawed people, and he's looking for answers from people he probably shouldn't have been looking for answers for. And it's like you have to look for answers yourself, and you have to try and work yourself out. And the director does seem to like flawed people and how they have to try and work their way through situations. So Joe is definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth looking out. It's a very underrated film. It's already been underrated. I already can see the reviews of it. And it's like, a lot of people don't get this film, and they're praising this other one that's not as good, frankly. But I won't rant about that. So Joe is an excellent film. It's definitely worth seeing. Let's start seeing how good it is, because this film deserves a lot more praise than it's getting. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video. but one more to go this week, which is going to be a double bill of what the hell is this, so I'll see you soon. Right, bye.